Hey guys, today I wanted to talk to you about a book recently released by Tor just last month in December called Last Year by Robert Charles Wilson. This is an SF story that takes place in a history that is not our own, yet identical to it. There's something called the mirror, discovered in our near future, that allows us to transport people and things across from our world's present to an identical world's past via something called Hilbert space, which is actually a mathematical term having to do with infinite geometric dimensions, but here comes to signify the linking between seemingly identical infinite worlds, each existing as and accessible through a specific time in that world's history, meaning we can, technically, with the mirror technology, access any point or world or time period within Hilbert space, but certain times are more plausibly and easily accessed than others. For billionaire August Kemp, creator of Futurity City, or just the city, this is crucial to the place and time he chooses to build said city. Thus, people of our near future, are given the opportunity to visit 1876, not our own 1876, but one just like it. And those living in 1876 are given the chance to glimpse into their possible future with attractions for all to enjoy. One of these natives to the time period, named Jesse Cullum, had been booted off the train in Ohio, wherein he stumbles across the new city of Futurity and becomes an early employee, as the infrastructure needed to entertain those of both past and future is laid down. We begin the story on September 1st, 1876, the day that President Ulysses S. Grant visits Futurity for the first time. Jesse, the earnest, sincere, somewhat somber, Oakley sunglasses from the 21st century wearing member of the city's security team, notices someone at the crowd of Grant's arrival that's far too quickly approaching the president. Jesse takes action and is commended by all for his bravery. In fact, August Kemp himself, owner and proprietor of the city, takes a personal interest in him and assigns him to partner up with Elizabeth, who's from Kemp's future and came through the mirror to work in Futurity. The man that Jesse had to deal with, a native to 1876 like Jesse himself, apparently was in possession of something that he wasn't supposed to have, and there might just be more contraband like that passing through the mirror into unknown hands and to unknown places in unknown quantities. Jesse, with Elizabeth, must help to find out just how far this goes and to what extent it needs to be reined in, because there's only 1 year left before the mirror closes forever, and August Kemp wants no great hitch or disturbance in Futurity's last year. This was a lot of fun with some pretty great ideas and questions raised. This is a past that's not our own, so no need to worry about that common time travel dilemma of ruining our future if we mess with the past, right? Well, that's not how this version of our past sees it. They're privy to so many things at the city. Their first real look at electricity and its many uses, at helicopters and airplanes, at the possibility of space travel, but they see how we act. They see our heavily different moral and social norms, the implications of how we carry ourselves, how we tend to interact with one another, etc. And it's the center of some wildly varying reactions. They're having who knows what done to their future by having this all introduced now. Kemp early on decided to not divulge most of the future's understanding on technology and medicine until the mirror is closed off, and even then he won't reveal all that much, because he fears that it'd kill their ability to discover things like this for themselves, or at least that's what he says, if given to them this early on. There's allusion specifically to how royally screwed over Thomas Edison would be now that the city has come. So there's some moral ambiguity here, because we could help them with even a little of what we know, but how far do we go in infecting their timeline, and who's to make the call? Kemp, who's benefited off of this financially more than anyone, and this is actually a pretty big focus of the story, the social morality of the situation. It's a sci-fi story, but the science behind the mirror is only very vaguely explained, which I was actually fine with. It's more about those questions and those issues, and even more so about the characters themselves. Jesse and Elizabeth both come from vastly different places and situations, but work together quite well. Jesse especially is such a great character, a great person in general. He's quiet, unobtrusive, dutiful, loyal, respectful, gracious, kind, strong, tactful, quick thinking, non-judgmental, and suffers from a PTSD that has roots in his past life back in San Francisco, which comes into play in the story quite a bit. Elizabeth has her own storied past, reasons for coming to work in futurity, reasons to be the somewhat serious, blunt, quick-witted, brusque, efficient person that she is. Their interactions really felt authentic to me, and I could feel a lot of personality in even their simplest conversations. These two were easily my favorite part of reading this. I've never come across or read anything by Robert Charles Wilson before, but I'll definitely be keeping my eye out for more of his stuff in the future. He's written several books, including one called Spin that won the Hugo in 2006, and I quite enjoyed his writing and his characters and the way in which he presented this story. He gets you into it right out the gate, then kind of evenly hands out the information needed to understand the situation as the book progresses. I think this had a lot to do with Jesse and his perspective. We learn things and how they came to be as he does. He's not privy to most of what's happening behind the scenes before the book begins, and his outlook on all that's happening is both interesting to see and enlightening to the reader. There's a great balance of action versus character moments versus information versus idea. I did feel that the last act was slightly off, perhaps a little bit too rushed or just not quite focused in the right place, but as a whole I did enjoy reading this quite a bit and would recommend it to anyone interested in character-driven and social-focused science fiction. If you've read this or want to read it now, I would love to hear your input. Share anything with me. I'd love to talk about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you later with more.